I am currently standing on the dark side of our RV. I call it the dark side because this is the side that we piled up our trash trying to hide it from the neighbors while we were waiting for our our trash service to start. This is also the side where we have our tanks. When I talk about tanks, I'm talking about freshwater tanks, the gray tank, which is shower and dishwater, and then the poop tank. They call that the black tank. And so what has happened over the months that we've been here on the RV is that our water tank ran out and our poop tank filled up. And that's okay if you can take your RV to a station, waste station, and refill up with water and dump your waste at the station. It is not okay when you are stuck with a mud puddle underneath you and a pile of rocks in front of you. And so we're stuck right here with no water and the sewer full. So what has happened in the last few days is I think I mentioned that our neighbor brought us a big, huge 270-gallon tank of water. And Lee bought a little motor and he bought a clamp or whatever to attach that hose outlet to our hoses. And he has spent the morning filling our tank up with fresh water. And so we now have the water that we did not have. Then a couple of days ago, he did an overnight order with Amazon to buy a really big gray, black type of tank so we can take the waste out of the RV and put it in this tank. The tank has wheels so we can wheel it over the truck, we can hee-ho it onto the truck, we can take it to a waste station, we can dump it out, siphon it out, however they do that, and at least have our bathroom accessible again. And so we've kind of fixed those challenges as we have come across them. We're still fighting the rat problem. The rats did get back into the heating duct, but because we wrapped wire around the heating duct and then taped around the wire, they weren't able to break through. They were stuck in the heating duct, and you can see where they chewed up the foil because when the heater went on, it shot the foil out through the vents. And so we still have that issue to kind of deal with and figure out how are they getting in. That's the problem. And because there's a huge mud puddle, not mud, it's still got water in it underneath the RV, we cannot go back under and look to see what else is happening under there because it's just really messy. But for right now, we know they cannot get into the cabin. They can do whatever, but they cannot get into the cabin. So that challenge is still before us. But the challenge that hit us this morning is, boom, we're out of propane. That's a big one because our refrigerator runs on propane and so does the heater. Now the refrigerator can run on electricity, which we do not have, but we do have the external generator, which you can hear running, and that is keeping our refrigerator going. But the heater does not run off of anything but the propane. So we are without heat for the moment. And thank goodness it's not 7 degrees like it was a couple of weeks ago, because that would be extraordinarily bad. But anyway, where am I? I'm right here. We need propane. We need to somehow be able to get propane into the RV. Now, Lee called a propane company, and they said that they do come out and give people propane, but they will not come out just for our little 30 gallons of propane or whatever that is that we need. They will not come out for that. They said it's not worth it. But they are in the area from time to time, and they'd be happy to help us when they eventually get around here, but that's not going to help us today. And so we're looking for maybe an external propane tank that we can somehow connect from that tank to our RV, kind of like you hook a barbecue up to a propane tank. But that's going to require some parts that we don't have and some knowledge we don't have. So Lee's looking on YouTube watching YouTube videos to see how to do this, to see if it'll work, and Lord willing, we'll be able to figure something out. So we're going to have to figure something out long term. So this challenge is before us. Now, we could have avoided some of these issues if we would have proactively went after the water and the electricity. We do have the paperwork in order to get that easement. We just have to go to the owner of that land and have them sign that, so we could take that to the electric company, so they will get that electricity from that pole to our property, and we will have electricity, and that will save some of our headaches, and it'll save fuel in that external generator because we'll have electricity. And then the second thing is the water. The water has to come from down the street all the way down to our property. We're thinking surely it doesn't have to go that far because there is a house over there and they must have water, but we're not real sure if they have theirs going from the street to here, if we can tap into that, or if we have to have a new line coming down to us, and that's kind of expensive. Now the people down the ways, they looked into getting water to their property, and it was $13,000 just to get the water to their property, and then another $3,500 I think they said to buy the regulator. And so we think that they did not come down our street, and that's too bad, because if they came down our street we could simply hook into them, but they don't come down the street. I think they came from the other street down, and so if that's the case, we need to pay for there. That could cost us, I don't know, $6,000 to $7,000 to get that water to our house, and so or our property anyhow. So we need to do that. Yeah, I hate spending money, especially when it comes to just stuff like that, but it's got to be done. And then we'll deal with all the other challenges as they come up. But this is how we started the morning, dealing with water and poop and no propane. It's back to working on the garage. What Lee is doing is he's putting the top boards on place. They were supposed to have bottom boards too, but they didn't supply them in the kit, and it has to do with the whole framing thing. We didn't notice that until we had already gone through the process of raising the walls and stuff. But the top plate is so that the eaves can go onto it, and it goes all the way around. It gives more rigidity to the building. And don't worry about that bottom plate not being there, because Lee shot the wood that was there into the concrete, so it's pretty rigid right now anyway. And so that's what we're doing. As soon as that is done and we go all the way around with screwing those in place, we begin the eave work. It's out of order, but we're finally getting those branches down. We already got several of them down. They're all in the garage, if you can see that. We just want to make sure that they don't lay on the eaves. Starting to build the trusses.
We may want to consider a nail gun for this hollow.
Okay, flips it over and does it again. Okay, turned over.
It's gonna take a while, isn't it?
Sure it is. How many trusses are there?
A lot of them. Look how the two-inch nails go through all the way through.
Yeah, they did. Okay, Lee's coming out with the first truss done. Ta-da! Truss. And all that wood right there are the other trusses. Yay! So, I guess I should help you. Lee is on his very last rafter. Rafter? Sounds like a dinosaur. Lee is on the very last truss for the rafters, and as you can see, he has a whole stack of them right here. He needed to do 11 what they call doubles. It's plated on both sides, and then 2 of the singles where it's plated only on one side because the siding goes on the opposite side once it's up. And so once those are done, we're calling it quits for this project today because the sun is, I don't know, about to set in the next 45 minutes or so, and it'll get really cold. It didn't get very warm today, in the mid-50s, I think, and so it will get cooler once that sun drops down. And we've got to work on that other issue. We've had some friends step in with some advice to possibly what we could do with that propane issue. I don't know if anything's going to work out, but surely something will. The Lord's on our side. God bless you. See you tomorrow.